is a question that I wanted to ask you. Why do you think people who come to Ghana might leave?
I think people coming here would leave because they're not ready to live in a developing country.
This is a whole different kind of thing, y'all.
Yeah. Everything, all of the Western amenities are here, but they are not all together. Not a lot is well maintained here in Ghana. So they may be used to, hey, the here and now culture, the me first, I have my rights culture. And that's not here in Ghana.
Greetings, family. There's a controversial story here about brothers and sisters, African Americans, moving back home, especially from Ghana. Frustrated, disappointed, let down, and so going back home. And the talk is they're going in droves.
In this video, African Americans are leaving Ghana in droves.
Lies!
Truth is, they're not going in droves. But have some people gone back home? Yes, they have. And why is that? A number of reasons. And that is why I have created this 10-pointer based on what I've observed online, based on my own take on motherland and experiences that I've seen within Nairobi, but especially Nairobi and Accra, Ghana. So we've got to tell the hard truths to help you navigate the continent, to help you succeed when you visit Africa.
What is your take on it so far?
My
do you
take on
think
it,
that there's an exodus right now?
I don't see an exodus. I'd see the exact opposite. I see, more people coming, more interest in people coming. So I don't see the people leaving.
What makes you think there's more of an interest in coming, or that more people are coming?
Well, we run a small little travel and tourism company, and business has not dipped at all. And looking at our future, we have bookings into next April already. So I don't see a drop in people coming in at the airport. I don't see a drop in people I socialize with who are from the States or anything that they're saying that there's a drop in people leaving. So
yeah, until those airplanes start arriving half full.
In fact, from what we're seeing, there's more airlines that are coming into Ghana having more direct flights from the United States now.
So this is my 10 points plus one. Notice I'm saying plus one. And when you get to the end of it, you'll appreciate why I'm saying plus one. But these are the 10 hard truths you need to look out for when returning home to motherland, either to invest or just to relocate entirely and live on the continent of Africa. If you're here for the first time, please do subscribe and hit the like button. This is Africa, our business, so let's get into it. Number one, pace of life and service delivery on the continent. You may find many African countries rather slow, especially if you are coming from fast-paced cities like New York. Many African Americans, for example, have reported finding Accra, Ghana rather too slow, but say Nairobi is slightly faster. But the one major drawback is the red tape. Most of Africa is heavy on bureaucracy, and that will frustrate you big time. So the best idea is to start early on any service, especially for permits and visas, so that you are not on the wrong side of the law should any of your documents expire or should the process delay. Number two, infrastructure in Africa. And by infrastructure, I mean road networks and Western conveniences that you're used to, like delivery services. While many African cities are fast growing, a number of African cities still lack adequate road networks, riding lanes, walking lanes, and the basic thing like doorstep delivery service. So you will have to adapt to some of these small challenges, including forgoing some of the conveniences one is used to in the West. Apart from upmarket neighborhoods, most of Africa does not rely on doorstep deliveries and online shopping. And this is largely because in our urban centers or cities, we do not have the address system that works for delivery service.
You can have that experience. It's going to cost you.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a cost involved with that, you
Yeah,
know.
you can have it. You can have it all.
Right. And I don't think a lot of people come here realizing how much they are on their own.
Number 3, there'll be a major culture shock. Since Ghana introduced the year of return, many African Americans have traced their roots to West Africa, and majority of which are French-speaking nations. The language barrier will make it difficult to communicate and do business in those countries. The average American only speaks English. At least in East Africa, like Kenya, English is the official language, but East Africans also speak Swahili. Learning Swahili will be of great value to you. It will help you connect with the locals in that region.
Thank you. Asante sana.
Therefore, language will determine the suitability of the country you wish to either relocate to or do business in Africa. Number 4, and this is crucial, especially if you're online, internet. The world is online today, and poor internet and Wi-Fi connection can frustrate you, and indeed will frustrate you. Visitors to Ghana, for example, have cited a lack of good Wi-Fi in Accra, at best patchy. Kenya, however, has far better internet, and its Wi-Fi connectivity to major cities is generally reliable. There may be challenges though from time to time, but Nairobi is by far a major IT hub in this region of Africa and generally in Africa as a whole. Kenya also pioneered the mobile money transfer, which has now been adopted in many African countries. So no need for cash loads in your pocket. The mobile money, such as M-Pesa or Airtel money, will do you just fine. Number 5, blackouts. A number of African countries experience frequent blackouts. Accra in Ghana, Lagos in Nigeria are examples that suffer blackouts fairly frequently. Not good for online business, not good for content creators. Again, brothers and sisters on the continent, these are just realities. We've got to tell these stories so that our brothers and sisters who are coming home can figure out how best to navigate. Number 6, prepaid rents. Yes, in countries like Ghana, rent is paid upfront, 1 year to 2 years. I've been to South Sudan, and that seems to be the trend as well. I mean, there are exceptions to the rule, but the general trend is you pay your rent 1 year in advance, 2 years in advance. Now, once you have that locked, there is no room for changing, and you are stuck with it. So it's best to visit the country in question 2 or 3 times. Research a suitable place you wish to stay at before making that commitment to paper. That is crucial, guys. Otherwise, you get so disappointed. You've paid tons of money and you cannot relocate to your new place for whatever reason, you know. Number 7, cleanliness or the lack of it. This will vary a great deal, but the main thing is that garbage collection in many African cities is generally non-existent or poor at best. It's a hard truth. The authorities must work to improve. Most city centers in Africa will be clean though. But Africa's trash problem actually is a gold mine awaiting investment. Are you up for it? Number 8, import tax. They tax you, man. They really do. So the cost of importation is quite high, sometimes near double the original cost of new items coming from abroad. So that's something you need to research in advance of relocating to avoid the pain of coughing up tons of money in tax. And then there's that bit of you being an expat. And you know, a lot of people can smell you from afar, and you especially sound different. It tends to attract high costs wherever you go. That sound, that tinge. So when you can create local networks, get a local fixer who can help you smooth your way through the imports and just services in general to avoid getting ripped off. It's almost like you arrive to a new place and you get initiated. So before you really realize you're paying too much money, it takes time. Number 9, jobs in Africa. Are there jobs in Africa? Yes, there are jobs in Africa. There are high caliber jobs in Africa. But there's also a huge population of non-employed young people on the continent. So if you are relocating, don't be fooled into believing that perhaps because of your skills and experience, you can quickly plug in on arrival in Africa. You will need to be patient and may actually get very frustrated. I've got to warn you about that. And if you do get one, perhaps it may not pay the equivalent of what you are used to in the West. So finding new pathways to work, like being a digital nomad, creating content, may be the best approach to live the life of your dream in Africa. Number 10, and this is also crucial, medical services. The best medical services are mostly available at private hospitals and clinics. In Kenya, most of these are found within the capital, Nairobi, and most other cities like Mombasa, Kisumu, and Nakuru. The public facilities are already inadequate for locals and often lack the basic supplies. So research in advance if you suffer an existing condition. Best to identify a facility and doctor as soon as you arrive in the country of your choice. Ambulance facilities are generally uncommon. I mean, you hear them whiz by, but locals rely on personal cars to get the sick to hospital, especially for emergencies. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, corruption. I said 10 plus 1. This frustrates locals as well, quite a lot. It's a world phenomenon. It's not a preserve of African countries, but it can be in plain sight and brazen, especially with the police. It won't always be that horrible, honestly, but your skills and crucially, your network within the cities or countries that you live in will help you navigate the continent. This is to help our brothers and sisters out there to have the knowledge, because knowledge is power, to know what to expect when you arrive, and especially to ensure that your trip to Africa and your stay here is successful. That's what we want for you guys. In the end, you will get the rhythm of life in Africa and make the best of every circumstance. Difficult as sometimes they may be, challenging as they may be, different from what you're used to, uncomfortable perhaps, but this is Africa. It is what it is, and there's still a lot you can get from the continent. The naysayers will dissuade you, discourage you and all that. Let's go with the bank. Those of us who are believers, Afro-optimists, we want nothing but for the diaspora to embrace the continent and think 150 years from now what that is likely to do in terms of pushing the agenda for Africans all over the world to the next level. Because Africa, for sure, is the next frontier of development. We've got friends who agree with our sentiments, who would want to work with us. We embrace those friends from the West, from Asia, from wherever they come from. But let's make Africa our business. Let's make Africa work. With that in mind, if you're here for the first time and you've watched this far, many thanks. Kindly consider subscribing, because obviously there'll be a lot more coming up, and we'll see you again next time. Peace and love. I'm out.